What are we supposed to be like?
You know what? The demise of the arranged marriage is something that now, as I can look back, I actually think it was a really good thing. And I know it sounds
Really?
bizarre. The reason I say this is because we as individuals overestimate our individuality and underestimate background and family and culture.
Okay.
So when we're looking for a person, we're thinking we connect, we get on. But the reality is you get on, but what will keep you getting on is if you have shared values, cultures, and beliefs. And when parents are selecting somebody, they're selecting that. They're selecting somebody who's got a similar background, similar kind of household, similar kind of family values, and they put you together. And so what happens when they put you together is when you run out of love or when you get annoyed with each other, you have the same belief systems. So what happens is you find a common ground in some ways. Whereas take, for example, I'm British and then I meet somebody who grew up in Germany and he's not from the same culture, nothing like that. Of course, we can really get on a surface level. But when push comes to shove, our values come into place. Our culture comes into place. What do you think is normal? When we have children, what do you think is normal? What do I think is normal? And when those things, this is why people from different cultures end up, unfortunately, more likely to part, because the belief systems break down.
Okay.
And when you're finding a partner, we look for chemistry and connection, when really shared culture is important. And when I say culture, I don't mean the same ethnic background. Same views on what school should we send the kids, what age can they be allowed to drive, what age, all of these things, how do we split the finances? All of these mundane things become more important as you develop in your marriage. And when you're selecting by yourself, you're not thinking about these things. So that's why I'm now thinking I can understand why arranged marriages were a thing.
But do you think we look for chemistry and connection because that's kind of something that we never saw growing up?
But you know what we did see growing up? Commitment and duty. And chemistry and connection is temporary.
But do you think, and I've had this conversation with a lot of people, a lot of marriages of that time were more situational, and it's kind of like she couldn't leave. Like, our moms they couldn't leave.
But here's the thing. We assume that connection and chemistry is permanent. It's just not. It's just not. Majority of the time, it's not. But what is permanent and what decisions they did make is, how do we keep this family together? And what happened in our parents' generation is they became committed to the marriage, not the person. The marriage has to work because the kids need both of us, and the kids need access to, both our financial situations, and they don't need a step parent and a step mom and a step. They need that cohesive environment. They need to know that grandma's here, granddad's there, blah, blah. But what's happening now is, if I don't like you now, I can leave you. But the kids are the ones that suffer. And I know they suffer when they see parents not madly in love. But one of the perks of when your parents do stay together is little things like your wedding day, or your graduation, or it's little things like you'll call mom and say, has dad eaten today? Yeah, he's fine. He's just, he's just watching TV.
Yeah.
Whereas that worry you have between splitting your time and that impact divorce has on your ability to maintain a relationship is something that is underrated nowadays.
Yeah.
And I think